can't, like, it is just so ridiculous. I decided to go to therapy for grief counseling, and this is my second appointment with my therapist. And he asked me this week, so are you still depressed? And I was like, well, I think I've been having a pretty good week. And he's like, so you've turned a corner? I'm like, sir, I'm doing okay, but what? And then this dude, we talk about what my parents do for work, and I mention something about how I have insurance through my mom still, and he immediately goes, you didn't forget that copay, did you? Like, sir, there's 30 minutes left in the session. What's happening? Not to mention, he spent the entire session just at me. What am I paying for? I spent money on this.
Hello everyone, this is Emmanuel Cook. We will be reacting to a new video today, so make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe down below, and let's get into the video.
I am honestly starting to believe that BetterHelp and all of those online therapies are a scam, because I took a few sessions, couples and just by myself, and even a few years ago I took some. Yeah, I'm starting to think it's a scam, because a lot of them offer you unlimited talking to your therapist, but only through text, and then it's 2 sessions a week if you're lucky, but it's 30 minutes long. In what world is speaking to your therapist for only 30 minutes beneficial to your health? Because I guess a little bit is better than nothing, but if I'm spending almost $400 on my mental health a month for just 30 minutes of service, first of all, I don't know why they won't even take your insurance, or they're very specific on which insurance you can take. But if you go to an actual therapist in your office, your insurance could cover most of it, and you just pay the deductible, whatever is left. In these ones, they don't. You end up spending a lot more for somebody that went online and got a license to be a therapist to come and sit in front of you and not know what they're doing, and then eventually rush you because it's only been 30 minutes, and now they're like, okay, it's 30 minutes now, I'll see you on the next session, bye, here's your homework, bye. Like, how is that supposed to help you? Just like I want my surgeon to go through a lot of school to make sure they know what they're doing, I would like for my licensed therapist to be a licensed therapist officially, not go online, take some tests, boom, I'm a therapist. Like, how is that okay? Like, granted, we're getting into a better age, but there are certain things that do need the extra school. On top of things, 30 minutes is not enough. I'm sorry, because if I'm going to come and sit in front of you, but if the first 10 minutes, hi, how are you doing? What you doing? How is you? Honestly, the first 10 minutes is going to be a little bit, it's not going to be actual therapy. Let's be honest, because you're getting to warm up and get into the therapy. The rest of the session is going to be you trying to open up, and then the therapist catching you up and saying, okay, our time is up. We'll see you next session and we'll continue. Now, granted, therapy doesn't happen in one day, but 2 hours was not even enough. How is 30 minutes okay? And honestly, the only reason why I'm even talking about it now is because my sister decided to join therapy, and she needs the help, and she joined BetterHelp, and I know for a fact that it's not going to be helpful, and now I have to tell her to not just cancel your subscription and go see an actual therapist, because I'm going to be honest, I did take those BetterHelp things. They don't actually help you. They're just there to grab money, because 2023, the youth is messed up and it's easy money. Let me know how it's helped you or what you think about them, but I think
my favorite thing is when someone tells me I should go to therapy. Have you ever talked to somebody? Have you ever talked to somebody? Have you ever gone to therapy? Oh, what a spectacular idea, Sarah. Actually, yes, I have gone to therapy. And you know what comes after you talk and you talk and you talk and then you talk some more? They send you a bill at the end of the month. They do. And guess what? In New York City, that's about $1,500 for me to just talk and talk and talk some more, and then talk the next week. It's like a pyramid scheme. They just get you to keep talking and talking and talking. And then you owe them $1,500 at the end of the month. And that just spikes my anxiety right back up to where we started. And I go, wow, You know what I could get for $1,500? I could go buy myself a flight to Paris, go eat a fucking baguette in the park, put it towards a nice pair of Gucci loafers for Christ's sake. That would help really lower my anxiety. Also, isn't that what friends are for and your mom? To call them when you ever have the slightest inconvenience and when you ever have the slightest tone of anxiety coming out of your body? That's what your mom is for. Okay. But you know what $1,500 doesn't do, Sarah? It does not fix my anxiety. It only increases it. I literally cannot keep going back. I'm done. I am done.
I low-key hate being a therapist because there's this thing that happens where if you say anything or do anything that is out of line for people, they're gonna be like, "How you a therapist? How you a therapist?" And you sitting here at the Wendy's drive-thru at 12 a.m. at midnight. First off, mind your damn business. Second of all, bitch, I am a black queer therapist. Black queer therapist. I was black and queer before I got the therapy part. I've been unhinged in the hood booger before I got the therapy part. Nothing changed but the degree status, baby. I went up 3 degrees, by the way. But I'm still a black queer person who is a therapist. And I'm not your therapist. I'm not about to perform therapy all day online for nobody. Yeah, find a new target. And if me being a therapist mean I gotta stop acting as bangy as I am, as quaint as I am, yeah, maybe I'll find a new job. I don't know what to tell y'all.
There's a creator here that posted a multi-video story time about her therapy experience from hell that left her jobless, living with her therapist, and ended up in like this indentured servitude type situation with her therapist. This video has sparked me to make a video that I've been wanting to make for a while, about shitty therapists, and it goes a little deeper than that. But I'm angry. I'm angry because therapy, there's enough stigma on therapy as it is. Okay, therapists have a hard enough time gaining respect professionally as it is. It's already hard enough on us anyway. But when we have therapists like this one who take advantage, not just take advantage of their client, but abuses their client in this way, it makes me livid. To be a therapist is to be in a position of high influence with your clients. When my clients come to me, they're very vulnerable. And my clients trust me. They listen to what I say. They take what I say very seriously. They use our sessions to make really important decisions about their jobs, their relationships, their friendships, etc., etc. It is nothing to be taken lightly. Being a therapist comes with a huge responsibility for other people. And so when I see other therapists taking this responsibility lightly, or even worse, going out of their way and intentionally and knowingly guiding their clients in a direction that they know will lead to their demise, jail time. It's not enough to take away the license. This kind of example of therapist abuse, lock her up. If you don't see the responsibility that comes with a therapist, don't become one. If you're not passionate about this field, don't become a therapist. If you're going to do it half-ass, don't become a therapist. If your clients are a second thought, don't become a therapist. Do something else. Do something else. This is not a career that you can just like mosey on through. Like, being a therapist is not a job that you can do passively and do well at the same time. It's not. It requires all of your attention, your energy, your focus. It quite literally changes you as a person. If being a therapist is not forcing you to be a better person, something is wrong. If you don't have any personal or professional integrity, don't become a therapist. Baby, there are so many other things you can do and probably make more money. But if you cannot be responsible and methodical and intentional about the influence and the responsibility that you have over your clients. And if you can't take that seriously and guide them in a healthy and a sustainable direction, and if you are only interested in what you can get out of this experience with your clients for yourself, you don't need to be doing this work. And I'm tired of it. I'm tired of seeing it. I'm tired of seeing people become harmed and abused in spaces where they are supposed to be safe. I'm sick of it. Enough. In my next video, I am going to highlight red flags that she pointed out in her story and talk to y'all about them, tell you why they're red flags, and just help you guys. I don't want anything like this happening to anybody else. I really don't. And the dangerous part about therapy being so trendy is that people want to do it, but they don't know what they're getting themselves into. They don't know what to expect. And that's exactly why I create the content that I create. So stick around. We're going to get into it. And child, I'm going to do my best to help people understand that therapy is a good place when you find a good therapist, because it really is. Okay, that's it. Bye.
If you want to know where the majority of debauchery, rotten behavior happens among therapists, you want to know where it happens? In therapist Facebook groups. If you're a therapist, you know. If you're not a therapist, be glad you don't have access to these groups. You don't want to know. I try my best not to go looking in there unless I absolutely happen to, but every once in a while, a post from one of those Facebook therapist groups will pop up on my feed and remind me that there are therapists who don't need to be therapists out there practicing and working with people. What I just saw has made me sick to my stomach and pissed off. I'm in a local Facebook therapist group, and oftentimes these groups are set up so that we can find referrals for clients, so we can connect clients with resources. What a beautiful idea, right? Wrong. The post I just saw was a lovely therapist asking for any resources for a client who needs help paying their rent. So lovely. That's part of the work that we do, is connecting clients, particularly clients who are disenfranchised, are not privileged in some ways. Connect with resources they need. And another therapist decided they wanted to comment on there with some real unhelpful shit. Real unhelpful shit. You want to know what the advice was? I bet you can guess. It was for that client to get a job. Don't you think that if that client could find a well-paying job, they would? Don't you think that therapist has probably already explored options for that client? Tell me you're privileged without telling me you're privileged. Tell me who you voted for without telling me who you voted for. It just makes me so aware that there are therapists out there not abiding by their ethical obligations. Shameful, 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 shameful.
A quick reminder, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe down below, and let's continue the video.
And let me just tell you something else. These therapists don't be healed either. That's why I'm gonna stop going to therapy, because they don't be healed either. They be just as fucked up as we are. My last therapist, I had to fire her because she was encouraging me to do stuff. I'm coming to you to fix this. Why are you encouraging me? So I have poverty trauma, right? I grew up poor. And the way that my trauma manifests is that I have a problem with flexing when I get triggered. Let me give you an example. So we bought this house in 2021. Okay, my son had just recently started daycare. We bought the house, we were furnishing the house, buying stuff, running up the card. Okay, running up the card. So on one particular day, I was buying furniture. I was just buying a bunch of things for the house. Okay, and running up the card all day. I get a call from my son's daycare, and it's the daycare director, and she's like, "I just ran your card, and your card was declined." I'm like, that's weird, because there's definitely money on the card. And she tried to like play me like I was broke. So I hung up the phone, I called the bank, and the bank was like, "Oh yeah, you just hit your spending limit for the day." Like, because you can only spend a certain amount of money per day. I think mine was at like $2,500 or something like that. I had to have them raise it, right? So that I could spend on the card. But because she had an attitude, I felt some type of way. I called her back. I was like, "Hey, go ahead and run that card again. Go ahead and run it for the next 6 months. Matter of fact, run for the next 6 months." Because I got triggered. Don't talk to me like I ain't got no money in my account, because I have money in my account. I don't like that. Poverty trauma. I tell my therapist this. She says, "Yeah, girl, I would have done the same thing." What? I'm coming to you to fix this. I gotta stop doing this. What do you mean you do the same thing?
So I think that therapy should be free. And here's why, right? If we look at all of the crimes, right, in the States, for example, the majority of criminals, right, have mental health issues. The majority of drug addicts, mental health issues. Those who are abusive, mental health issues. Those who are manipulative, mental health issues. A lot of the time, it is because of that. Their mind isn't right. Their mind is somewhere else, delusional. And so they do things and behave certain ways just because their mind isn't right. But if we are able to get a lot of these people to help, and those they have hurt in the past, a lot of our society would be healed. A lot of us. A lot of the problems that we endure as a people will be stripped away. It starts in the mind. It starts from young.
Talk therapy to me is a bunch of bullshit, and here's why. Don't come at me. This is just my personal opinion. You can either agree or not agree, but from my personal experience, I used to be more sad than normal, and I went to therapy. Did it work? No. And also from a person who's gone through a spiritual journey, meaning the past 2 years, I've really dove in deep into self-concept. I've reprogrammed my subconscious mind. I've meditated a lot. I've done a lot of Dr. Joe Dispenza meditations, which for those of you that don't know, those are about an hour-and-a-half meditations every single night. I got to a place where I felt so whole and complete when I literally had nothing, and that was through doing things and participating in meditations, tapes at night, affirmations during the day, binaural beats during the day, doing things actively that were reprogramming my subconscious mind and making new neural connections to a new and better life. And so the reason I don't believe in therapy or talk therapy is because I think from the spiritual perspective, when you've been on the other side, doesn't get you anywhere. And we all know, if you're in the spiritual community, if you listen to people like Abraham Hicks, right, she always says that talking about the problem perpetuates it. So when you go to talk therapy and you're literally just sitting there and talking about how you're depressed and like this and that, sure, it might feel for a second like it helps you, but you're perpetuating the problem and you're almost making it worse because you're staying in this loop where you're not giving yourself ways to actually come out of it and practices to come out of it. You're just going to therapy, you're talking about it over and over and over. Not to mention, people are so quick to be like, "Oh, you're depressed. Oh, you need a pill." No. We're just in this time and era where we get our Amazon package in one night. So what, we're expecting our mind to be fixed in one night? Y'all, it's taken me 3 years to really feel whole and complete and loved and like I don't need anyone else. And I was not depressed by any means. But I think talk therapy is just a whole bunch of B. And nowadays you're not able to say, "I feel sad," without someone being like, "Oh, you're depressed." Because let me just tell you, the past couple days I've been feeling a little down. And when I feel like that, I know exactly what my solution is to get into a higher vibration. And that's really long meditations, affirmations at night, and again, affirmations during the day, binaural beats during the day, because those are practices that get me out of that low vibrational feeling. And the past couple days, I've told my sisters and one of my friends at work, like, I've just been feeling sad the past couple days. And the first thing they go to is, oh, maybe you should go to therapy. Are you sure that you're not depressed? It's like, no, guys, people are allowed to feel sad without feeling like they're depressed. Like, part of being a human being is being able to express your emotions and not attach to that feeling, but just say, I feel this way on this day. So I don't believe in therapy because, number one, it just perpetuates the problem, and number two, it's almost like they're making it so easy for someone to say, oh, I'm depressed or I need medication. You don't. What you need to do is sit down and get to know yourself and love yourself and find practices, like actual practices that are going to help you come out of whatever cycle it is, not just sit down and continue talking about the problem. So agree, don't agree. I just don't believe in therapists. I think it's an awful way to heal yourself.
You want to know what really burns therapists out? Because it's not the clients. The best part of my job is getting to have my one-on-one sessions with my clients. The worst part of my job is everything else. There are so many things, so much red tape that truly make it hard to help clients in this atmosphere, environment, world. Like the fact that when you receive Social Security benefits from the government and then if you make over a certain amount of money, they pull your benefits. That model is the antithesis to trauma-informed and very often has my clients stuck in this dynamic of like, do I try to work and then struggle, or do I just keep my benefits and not even try to work? And don't even get me started with the fact that I have to diagnose my clients with something from the moment I see them, or insurance won't cover their services. And even then, I have to make sure it's in a diagnosis that insurance will cover. Not to mention the fact that most of the trainings that I'm forced to go to as a part of my agency are so outdated that it makes me want to pull my hair out, which means a lot of the interventions that I use with my clients are self-taught. And you know what? I don't mind that part as much. What I do mind is when I speak up about how the interventions that they're deciding to train people on are outdated and antiquated and actually harmful to many groups. They tell me I'm the odd one out. Okay. And then there's the fact that the DSM, the manual that we have to use to diagnose everyone with, is completely rooted in capitalism, and the whole diagnostic code and criteria is based on, are you a productive member of society or not? Which is, again, not trauma-informed or helpful. So yeah, next time you see a therapist saying, I'm burned out, don't worry, it's not because of you or because of clients, it's because of the system.
My therapist just ended our session by saying, and just a reminder, last time you said that starting May 1st, you were really gonna, kick your professional creative work into high gear. Bitch, why are you reminding me of my goals? I had said that April was going to be chill. I was going to chill for all of April. I was going to just be straight chilling. And then starting May, I was going to get back into it. And I was going to, really reinvigorate and revamp. And she comes in April 30th. Just a reminder, you said shut up. I'm still in chilling mode for one more day. Look at how bad my skin is. I got a horrible sunburn in Puerto Rico. Anyway, tame your therapists to stay in their lane.
All right, putting on my therapist hat really quickly, I just wanted to share something I was thinking about this morning. So it's taken me a very long time to really learn this lesson, and I think I finally learned it, so I'm going to share. The way people treat you is a direct reflection of themselves. It's a direct reflection of how they feel about themselves, what they have going on, and genuinely their mental state. So someone who is struggling, someone who is dealing with things, or honestly not really dealing with things, avoiding their problems, they're not going to be able to treat you well. And I see this a lot, even with me, it's happened plenty of times with plenty of my friends. Guys will straight up say to them, I can't give you what you deserve. I know you deserve better, but I can't give you that. And that isn't because you're not good enough. That's because they aren't in the place to do that. They don't have their own shit together. They are struggling with things. It's not you. You could be the most perfect person on the planet, and the way someone treats you, if they disrespect you, if, they're not giving you what you want, that's them and that's their feelings. And you need to separate it in your brain. Don't take it personally. Everyone's on their own journey. There have been plenty of times where me, myself, have been absolutely psychotic and rancid and hurt so many people's feelings. And that was because I was hurt and I was extremely mentally ill. I didn't have it in me to be able to treat the people around me with respect and kindness. So whether it's a boyfriend, a girlfriend, just someone who's just genuinely being an asshole to you, it's them, it's not you.
Have you guys heard of debt depression? Because it is a real thing. It's not a clinical diagnosis, but it describes the depressive symptoms created by the emotional stress of debt. And this is backed up by data by the CDC that as your family income increases, your chances of depression decrease. If you're an American adult, you are 5 times more likely to have depression if you live at or below the poverty line versus if you're wealthy. And there's a lot of factors that play into this, right? It's not just about the accessibility of resources to help with mental wellness, but it's about having lower financial stress. So if you're in debt and you haven't been able to get out, you've got these long periods of time that you're under stress, and that leads to chronic fatigue, low mental bandwidth, hopelessness. Now, back in 2020, the average US household debt reached the highest level in 10 years. So this is a more important conversation now than ever. If you're struggling with debt and you're feeling depressed about it, here's 3 things that you need to do. Number 1, assess where you are. Make a list of your debts and the types, the balances, the monthly minimum payments, the interest rates, so that you have a clear picture of what you're dealing with. And you might think, that's just going to make me feel more depressed. It might temporarily, but knowledge is power, and it's going to empower you to move forward and tackle the problem. Number 2, set one small, short-term, achievable goal. Achievable is the key here. So even if it's, I'm going to make all my minimum payments this month, that's a big deal because it doesn't put a ding on your credit score too, you know? And 3 is connected to 2, that one small win will be the catalyst for many more. So understand that the first time you hit a goal on your debt-free journey, it's going to be so empowering to you. It's going to be a great feeling of accomplishment, and you're going to know that you can do it, and you're going to keep pushing through. And if you're like, that's all great, but I really don't know where to start, comment below with your questions. I would love to help as a financial coach and support you on your debt-free journey. See ya.
Living in fucking America is the worst. I didn't have very good insurance, so I couldn't go to therapy. And I kind of need therapy because I got trauma, and I tried to a couple months ago, but so I didn't have good therapy or good insurance, and I like, my mom was like, I'll help you out, like, you can get on my insurance, like, I know you're struggling and stuff. And me and my mom never really had a great relationship, but so I go to therapy. I like trust my mom because she works in a hospital. I'm like, she's gotta have good insurance, you know, right? Like, she literally works for the hospital. You'd think that they would give her good insurance. But so I go to a couple therapy sessions. I have uneven legs, so I also go to the doctor, and they help me with like physical therapy stuff with that. And then I get this fucking huge ass bill in the mail, and I'm like, what the fuck? So like, I call my mom's insurance, and I figure out the fucking deductible is like $5,500, and the family deductible is $11,000. So if my family hits $11,000 this year, then we only have to pay 25% of services. Or if I hit $5,500, like, I pay everything out of pocket until then. That's literally not even worth it. Like, who is spending that much fucking money? Like, $6,000 a year on fucking medical shit, and then I still have to pay only 25%. I don't know. It's just fucked up, dude. Like, I have issues, and like, I need the doctor. Like, I am like chronically ill. Like, my body gets physically ill, and I am mentally ill, but like, I can't get fucking help, and I want to leave this place.
And this is why I think the app BetterHelp is a complete scam. On June 4th, which was my 37th birthday, I decided as a birthday gift to put myself into therapy, to work out some different things that have been bothering me, stuff like that, right? So because of my financial situation, I was able to get like 40% off of the price that I was going to pay. So I paid about like $190 for like 4 sessions, right? I had one session. It was great. Signed up for the next one with the same therapist. The following week, she's a no-show, no call, no text, nothing. Okay, no problem. I look for a new therapist. I find another one, right? We have a session within the next few days. Same thing happens. No call, no show, no text, no nothing. End up getting with another therapist. She and I are communicating through text through the BetterHelp app. Yet the day of the session, same thing. No call, no show, no nothing. Today, I kid you not, today at 10:30, I was supposed to have a session with another therapist. I was there at 10:30 and same thing. No show, no call, no text, no nothing. This app is a complete scam. A complete scam. Never again.
What's up, y'all? So first and foremost, this, no disrespect at all. And this is no shade at all, because there's a lot of people who have this ideology. Here's my thing. I am a huge advocate for therapy. Always have been, always will be. And the reason why I will always be a huge advocate for therapy is because if we had all the answers figured out, what would be the purpose of our life journey here, Earthside? If we had all the answers. And I'm not sure if you're male or female by your content or by your page, but 9 times out of 10, and I could be wrong here, but my experience of people who generally have this mindset, there's a couple things that probably went on that kind of deterred them from therapy. Number one, either they've, by circumstance, grew up in a generation where therapy was not an option. It's just wasn't an option, wasn't talked about. It was a taboo subject, just wasn't heard of. Either that, either they've heard other people talk about their experiences with therapy and just didn't want to do it. Could be bad experiences, could be good, and just didn't want to put themselves through that. Or the latter, and I think it's the latter, is because therapy requires you to be vulnerable and transparent, and it's scary. And this is coming from someone, I'm currently in therapy. I've been in therapy 3 years now. Therapy only works if you're ready to work. And for a lot of people, vulnerability and transparency, it is scary. It is, because literally you're telling essentially a stranger your business, in a sense. You're becoming emotionally naked. And that's a scary thing. And ultimately and truly, too, also what may be another reason as to why a lot of people think therapy is a scam is because they tried therapy and didn't have a good experience themselves. And maybe they don't want to go back, which is valid, because therapy is not a one-size-fits-all. You literally have to find your right therapist. Luckily enough, I got mine on the second try. But not everybody is so lucky. All in all, therapy only works if you're ready to do the work. And in your emotional nakedness is where the real work begins. Because you got to think about it. You never really know how healed you are until it's time to pass a test. Because you got to ask yourself, do you really know the material if you've never been tested? So some people think therapy is a scam. I'm 100% advocate for therapy. I recommend everybody go at least once in their life because, once again, therapy only works if you're ready to work.
So I have done therapy in the past before, and it did help me. But I can see how it is not very helpful to other people. It takes 2 efforts, right? One from your therapist, number 1. Number 2 is from you as a person. How much are you willing to do yourself? How much work are you willing to put in? If you put in the work, I promise you that you will grow. You will get some sort of healing. It might not be much, but it is a little improvement. Now, a lot of us think that our therapist is the end all be all. They are not. They are individuals too. They are just a guide to making better choices for yourself. A lot of us are in the state that we are in solely because of poor life choices. We stuck around people who are not good for us for a long time. And so we reaped the consequences of them being in our lives. We deal with people and with things that are not good for us. We just hang in there and wish for the best. But a lot of individuals show us who they are from the start. They show us their flaws right away. We choose to ignore them, and then we suffer. But if we choose to say, you know what? He or she has shown me this. Okay, then I will just get away from her or him and leave. And that's it. It is pretty easy. it is down to a lot of our choices we make in life, a lot of it, and how we think.
Is therapy really a scam? If you would have asked me that question about 4 to 5 years ago, I would have been like, oh my goodness, why would you say a thing? And then proceed to list all the benefits of going to therapy. Now, as a therapist who considers himself an anti-capitalist, works through an anti-colonial framework, right? I will say, let's unpack that a little bit further. This video is to simply validate for some individuals' experience why therapy may feel like a scam. This is not to discredit or to say you shouldn't go to therapy. However, I would invite you to be really critical on the therapist you do choose. So what makes therapy a scam? Therapy feels like a scam to individuals who live in a capitalistic culture. A therapist who only tells them to practice self-care, like that really does anything, as we know. Therapy feels like a scam when an individual who's neurodivergent doesn't receive the care they need. They're treated as if to function and behave like a neurotypical. Therapy may feel like a scam. Therapy may feel like a scam for Black and brown folks who, when they name racism, they name systematic issues, their therapist discounts them or kind of glosses over it and doesn't really hold much space to begin with. Therapy may feel like a scam if you understand the intersections of how capitalism and politics has played a role into our current mental health system.
Let's talk about how poverty messes with your mind and the mental struggles of being poor. Poverty can mess with your mind in ways you would never imagine. And it doesn't mean being without money. It can eat at your mental strength and sense of reality. People who are poor often feel invisible, ignored, like they are not a part of the real world that everyone else lives in. They lose touch with hope, and it gets easy to accept that life will always be unfair. The struggle to survive every day messes with their head until they can barely think straight about anything else. And the sad part, society act like it's their fault, like they chose this life, when really, no one would ever choose to feel trapped, helpless, and forgotten. So poverty isn't just about being broke. It messes with your mind and changes how you see the world. Instead of blaming the poor, we should realize the struggles they face every day.
I appreciate you guys watching the video today. Please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe down below, and I'll see you guys in the next video.